Hello, I am Kevin Molesworth, the president of ISES Austin, here to talk a little bit about the Spirit of Excellence Award for Special Projects. Amazed, absolutely amazed. You're just fantastic. Our chapter won an SOE in Special Projects a handful of years ago, so to win it again was really exciting. This was probably, of all the categories that we had entered in, that the victory was the most surprising. I guess we just thought that there would be someone out there who maybe had done perhaps a charity event where they had raised some just insane amount of money that maybe that project would have trumped ours. As far as how we set up our chapter to win the Special Project SOE, I don't know that we set that as a goal. I mean, we had multiple special projects that we did, and we happened to submit one of them. Like I said, it was a pleasant surprise. We were proud of the work we had accomplished, but because we didn't think that we would be the winner in that category, I don't know that we set out sort of a if A then B scenario of we're going to do this special project specifically for the purpose of winning the SOE. But we did. Walked out this morning. The actual special project was lobbying our local government about a law that they were looking to pass that was going to vastly affect members of our special events community. In a nutshell, the powers that be over at City Hall wanted to streamline the permitting process. And in doing that, a couple attorneys drafted this new legislation. Well, in doing so, they didn't ask anyone from the special events community our thoughts on that, on the wording of the new law, or even what the law was going to do. So we got word of it. Myself and a few other ISIS members, we went down to Town Hall. We went to one of the open meetings, and having gotten our hands on what the law had said, and we highlighted certain segments of it, points that we wanted to bring up. So in our very first meeting that we went to at City Hall, I got on the mic, and I pointed out a handful of things, and one of the things that I also noted while I was talking was I sort of gave them this metaphor. I said, if you were writing new fire codes for the city, wouldn't you talk to the fire department and firefighters, maybe electricians, people who have a vested interest and knowledge in, what might start fires? I said, we are a society of event professionals. We are almost 250 members strong right here in Austin. Nobody called us. Nobody asked us a single question. Nobody reached out to us before writing this legislation. And they kind of, you could see that their faces changed. They realized oh, we might have screwed up on this. And then as I continued talking, I actually got 5 of the 7 city council members to admit on record that they never even read the legislation. The very legislation that they were about to vote on and likely pass, which would then be handed on to the mayor and potentially voted into law. So once they admitted that on record, the head of the committee stopped everything and said, we will not be voting, we are tabling this for further review. Okay, cut to the chase, weeks and weeks and weeks of, more meetings and such and what have you, and us being active participants. Our members went to those City Hall meetings, and we argued our case. And luckily, we were able to stop that legislation from taking place. The structure of the committee that took on this special project that was lobbying City Hall were, of course, members of the ISIS Austin Board of Directors, and then long-standing members of ISIS who were very involved in community affairs and people who were considered not only special events industry leaders, but Austin industry leaders in our particular segment. People who had a voice. Like I said, we went to the first City Hall meeting. We did what we had to do. We made them think a little bit about it, but then we made darn sure that members of the special events industry here in Austin were at successive meetings, and also that we even had some one-on-one meetings with councilmen in their offices, and really just staying on top of it, emailing them, letting them know, you need to talk to us. We are the professionals. We know about permits. So before you go ahead and start signing things into law, you need to talk to us. As far as how the people on the committee for the special project sort of kept everything in order with regards to the submission of the actual SOE, the paperwork and all that good stuff, I mean, fortunately, we had a paper trail with everything. Again, these meetings at City Hall, they're public record. And when you speak at them, you essentially become part of that public record. So it really wasn't hard to keep track of. And again, because we were so active in the process, we were constantly talking to one another like, hey, there's another meeting. Who can go? Great, let's grab 3 or 4 people and let's go. Well, quite simply, the most impactful part was that the law did not pass. That's it. We stopped it. Now, let me give you an example of one of the things that was in that law that really that demonstrates why it's so important that we stopped it, and also demonstrates that the people who wrote the law don't understand how special events, the industry works. One of the items they had in there regarding the timing of when permits had to be applied for and then when they had to be issued stated that if you had an event that had 1,000 people or more, you had to apply for that at least 90 days out. That part's no problem. I mean, if you have an event for 1,000 people, you're probably applying for it 9 months or a year out, so that wasn't the issue. The issue is the language that followed said that they didn't have to give you final word on approval or disapproval until 30 days before the event. Well, we all know that's not going to work. If I'm throwing an event for 1,000 people, I've got to book my venue and all my vendors, my lighting, my linens, my caterer. I've got to book all that, and I have to give them money and give them deposits. I can't wait until 30 days prior to the event to decide whether we're going for this. I mean, do we have the green light? So it was just ridiculous. We explained to them, especially with some of these big things like, for example, our South by Festival or ACL Festival. A lot of these bigger events, you can't wait 30 days out. People are planning that a year or more in advance. So once we pointed out how ridiculous that was, again, in that town hall meeting, the very first one we went to, all the councilmen kind of took a step back and went, yeah, we really didn't think that through, did we? So it's like, right from the beginning, we knew we had them, and they knew they were wrong, and that's why the legislation stopped cold right there. The best piece of advice that I can give to any chapter that wants to submit for a Spirit of Excellence Award is don't wait till the last minute and think you're going to put together an award-winning submission. You're not. You have to keep track of it, the entire year. What you're doing, what you're working on. Keep notes. And I would actually recommend putting one person on your board or a committee in charge of it, keeping all that stuff, whether it be files, documents, emails, what have you, setting up a Dropbox. But you really have to plan your submission over the entire year. You're not gonna come down to the end of the year and throw it together in a week or 2 weeks. It just won't happen. So take the time, invest the time in it, chip away at it a little bit, each week, each month, what have you. And I think that's the biggest ticket to success. Well, as I mentioned before, the only, software or application really that we used was Dropbox. It's a great catch-all. We can all contribute to it. It really just keeps everything all in one folder. Aside from that, I can't think of anything specific that we used to better the submission or our process of maintaining the submission. I think Dropbox was really just the key for us.
Walked out this morning.
I think that the winning of the Spirit of Excellence Award for Special Projects helps our chapter in a couple ways. First is it brings even more attention to the very thing that we were working on in the special project, which was lobbying our local government to make sure that any new laws that were going to be written, that we had a voice in that process. You know, you can't just rewrite or write new permitting laws without the very people that it's going to affect having a seat at the table. It brought even more attention to that, so that's fantastic. And then I think just on the simplest level, I think any chapter that wins an award or receives some sort of recognition for our members or for perhaps people who are interested in becoming members, well, who doesn't want to be a part of a chapter that's just received some major recognition? You know, it just shows that that chapter is doing something right. Think about like when the Academy Awards, for example. I heard it said one time for someone that had received an Academy Award and the reality of what that meant. What it means is for the rest of that person's life, for that career, that actor is going to be introduced as Academy Award winner Kevin Spacey, you know, or what have you. It's an honor, and we absolutely utilize that in our marketing, you know. Spirit of Excellence Award winner, ISES Austin, you know. So again, it starts the conversation for those that are unfamiliar with the Spirit of Excellence, for people who are looking to possibly become a new member of our chapter. You tell them you're an award winner. They want to know why you won the award. Not only specifically what you won it for, but they want to know more about, well, what is this organization? Again, they must be doing something right. They're being recognized by this international organization as one of the best amongst all the chapters in the world. So yeah, we definitely use that in our marketing.